Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going to Bitcoin, being the CoinsKid crew. So the waves indicator, I've made this a long time ago for you, to be honest with you. Look, every time you come up and you start to get overheated in the market and you see the sell side beginning to outweigh the buy side, be wary in Bitcoin. And you can clearly see that in July, okay, which is where I actually think the top is of a potential impulsive move. I think we've been in a regular correction since then. And I think the proof is in the pudding. You see it basically in the bars at the bottom, basically a waves indicator, where the red zone and obviously yellow zone is outweighing basically the buy zone. So if you take a look, you've got a position just there where the sell side of the market was outweighing the buy side. So sell strong, top end of the market, 38.82%, and then you've got 15.7%, and then your buy side is like 7.23 and 8.65. Okay, so you've got a warning there that you're coming in for some kind of correction, because your sell side is outweighing the buy side. Really is that simple, and this is why I made this indicator for you. So you've come down, the buy side outweighed the sell side. Look at that. So you've got 29 and 28 over 0 and 2%. So you've got a buying opportunity, and this is exactly what I relayed to you on Twitter the past few days. We've got a buying opportunity here, because it doesn't mean the bottom's in, it just means that you've got a buying opportunity, because whenever you see buy side far outweigh the sell side and vice versa, you can just ride that swing basically, and this is what we do on the channel. So again, this came up. I think this was a bull trap. Again, you're beginning to look quite extended. The sell side is outweighing the buy side, and then boom, a few days later, you're coming down the stairs. Look at that, beautiful. So we've seen it in recent times. We saw the sell side picking up again, outweighing the buy side, comes up, gets toppy, rolls over. Again, we're seeing the buy side outweigh the sell side. Again, we're getting that nice little retracement. So you can use this indicator to basically go in with your longs and go with your shorts and ride the waves. This is why it's called the waves indicator. It's on CoinsKid.com. I made it a while ago. I've got little ideas to improve it and notifications and things like that. But whenever you see these blue bars outweighing the other bars, you've got basically some kind of little micro buy on the cards. Basically, every single time you see that massive spike up in the buy side, and you can clearly see if it happens, if it lasts for quite a few days as well, you increase the probability of a nice little reversal. Just like you did there, you're coming down. Oh no, it's going to zero, but the buy side is outweighing the sell side, and you get that nice little pump to the upside. Now, it is my opinion, even looking at this particular chart, I do think we've seen an impulsive move for Bitcoin into July of this year, and obviously I'm looking for the invalidation of that. So we have to look at where that impulsive wave started into that high, because that's the invalidation of your impulsive move. You lose that, then obviously it's not an impulsive move, it's a corrective move, and at that point you are down basically, and you're losing the structure of an impulsive move. So I actually think Bitcoin's come up, topped in July, and I've shown you all the confluence of that. Like for example, this came down, come up, made a higher high, but XRP made that lower high, because that's the true value of the market. Again, equally, the Tether dominance of that particular time frame didn't lose the low. So it's just all things like that build confidence in my analysis. So here in July, I actually think was a top of a potential impulsive move that formed from April of 2024. So it was impulsive, and since July we've been corrective. So I think we've been in some kind of A into a B into a C wave, and we've traded many of these over the years. So what we're looking for is reasons to identify the bottom. Okay, and we've seen quite a lot of blood, fear and depression in this potential bottom, but have we seen enough? And that's the big question, isn't it? So we need to look at the charts and see what we can see. But right now, like I said to you, there is equally another clue in another indicator that I created for the CoinsKid crew called the crystal ball, that shows this crash and this pullback, and then another crash as we head into October. So again, keep an eye on the waves indicator, because if you start to see something like this again, okay, well, the market's in an extreme state of fear, it's always a little buy, and I relayed that to you on Twitter. The micro fear in green was down here at 18. The buy warning and the buy zone was far outweighing the sell zone, and I'll show you quickly on Twitter when I made that tweet, okay, for the little micro move up for Bitcoin I was expecting. So looking at this little micro tweet that I made for you, basically I like to micro trade and macro trade. Macro is really simple: your big spot positions, your outlook, your big macro outlook for Bitcoin, crypto, XRP, Fartboy, whatever. My macro positions, okay, or my big outlooks, I tend to look on the weekly and the monthly time frame for those outlooks. Your micro positions, or your little in and out trades, your longs, your shorts that we do in the Discord on a daily basis, okay. And we use many systems that I create for yourselves. We use the market zones, we use the futures blocks, we use a radar and things like that. All them little indicators and systems that I create for you over the years is just pure data, and this is what I relay to you. So last week there was a lot of blood, fear and depression in the market, but like I said to you, we've not you know, basically where we are right now, it's not often that we see that combination on our index, and this is a micro time frame, please remember that. So we've got the liquidity dance, which is negative, it's pulling back. We've got the Bitcoin below 30, look at that beautiful little signal. We've got the Tether dominance above 70, we've got the micro fear and greed in the fear zone. What are we buying? Okay, so I anticipate a little pump, and this is what I've been relaying to you in the videos last week. As this comes down, we will have a reason to buy, okay, not necessarily sell. And this is what happens, people sell into them pullbacks because they bought the top, they bought the big green candle. So the macro, if you're buying Bitcoin, okay, I've relayed to you in times when you buy Bitcoin, where you buy Bitcoin. When people are extremely fearful on the macro, expecting us to continue down, and we've seen 5 waves down, that is where you buy Bitcoin. And we've traded that in all these pullbacks that we've been doing since, you know, late 2022 is even a big macro 5 wave down where we bought, and then we come up and we go sideways and pull back, and then usually we end the wave, the correction, in 5 waves to the downside. We traded that. We traded 2 bump and runs, and we've traded a beautiful diamond bottom pattern where the end of that there was 5 waves as well. And this is what we identify. The macro outlook is where you buy, not necessarily these micro outlooks. This is just a little swing trade or a little, you know, micro long to come up into resistance and basically riding the wave. So for the past couple of weeks, for anyone that knows, been paying attention, I've been short on the market, been micro bearish, but not necessarily macro bearish, okay, because I don't see enough data in the charts to warrant jumping up and down saying that Bitcoin's entered the bear market or XRP or whatever. So it's all about structure. For Bitcoin, I've already relayed that where that is. XRP, I've been saying that till I'm blue in the face for a couple of months now. You know, the $1.90 low. If we lose that, obviously you're seeing three waves up equally for Bitcoin, and it's in the world of trouble. So we're looking at the charts in a moment, but I'm always trying to identify little longs and shorts with you. And we have a lot of success in Discord trading these, okay? I've been posting lots and lots of setups for yourselves over the past few weeks. And we've been trading the ranges and making a lot of money, okay, going short and recent times going long, like I said to you. So please pay attention to the updates and the data. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I do post little updates on there, but my premium content is obviously in the Discord for the CoinsKid crew. This is where we trade, you know, we post the trade setups and macro outlooks and things like that. You know, so definitely jump into Discord and get involved because it's a booming community. So a little micro outlook, you know, was a little micro long. We got the data telling us, and we went long, you know, and made a little bit of money. I've actually took a little bit of profit on that particular long because Bitcoin right now is smashing its head on a God candle back test, which is, you know, again, what I relayed to. If you go back here to the tweets when everyone was getting really, really bearish, I did say to you just here, I think it was, okay, check out the juicy God candle back test above in the charts. You all know the game by now. Liquidity dance, crystal ball, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Fartboy, TikTok, CoinsKid crew. And this was literally the day before I made the tweet on, okay, you know, your micro time frame is telling you to jump into longs. And look where we are. We've smashed into a God candle back test. So I'm just riding the waves on this channel. To be honest with you, I don't care if Bitcoin goes to 157k, 200k, or 54k. I'm just riding these waves, going long, going short, making money on a daily basis. And this is what this channel is all about for you, okay? Obviously, we've got our big spot positions and we're interested in the macro outlook, but we are making money on the micro trades, going long, going short. So definitely jump into the Discord. Let's dive into the video content right now and see what we can see for Bitcoin, okay? So looking at Tether dominance, this is a really important chart. Not a lot of people look at this chart, but this is really important. You know, it's an inverse correlation to Bitcoin. At the moment, the macro trend is that it's bearish. I'll show you on the BMS right now. And this is something you can get into your charts. Just join the CoinsKid crew. You'll get it straight into your charts. Really simple process. You know, you're trending under the band. Look at that. You lost it way back then. You got the big flush of the downside, retain resistance, flush of the downside, making a lower high, flush of the downside, still got it as resistance. Now, what I'm looking for is more data in this chart to flip bearish on crypto. And I think one of the key things we've got to look at is really simple. You see this pivot point just there, around about 6.24%. This is where this impulsive move has began for crypto since spring of this year. Okay, and this was an anticipated move. For anyone paying attention, I did say to you, for anyone paying attention to my video updates, I said to you, as this comes down and meets this technical target where it formed the wedge, I think we'll see a massive vertical in crypto. But at that point, this should start to meet the technical target and come back up looking to make the lower high. So if you take a look, it did make a lower high, okay? So this is currently still the downtrend in the Tether dominance. It's still macro bearish. So I'm just relaying this data to you. I hope you understand, okay? So I'm looking for the inverse correlation. I'm looking for this to break structure, and I'm looking for it to break 6.24%, because if it does, it means, okay, there's increased probability that that was your top way back when in December of 2024. Now that is currently not my primary outlook, but I'm looking for more data in this particular chart where this is an A, B, C coming back up into the future long around about 7.53%, and then, you know, that could be the absolute bottom the correction for crypto, XRP, Bitcoin, so on and so forth. So I'm looking for more data. Now currently my primary is that we are still making lower highs, but in recent times we are actually making a higher low. So we've got this sort of compression that's kicking off right now. And like I relayed to you, for anyone that's been on the channel for a very long time, they will know that whenever I see 5 waves up, I'm buying crypto. Whenever I see 5 waves down, I'm not buying crypto. So we've got the confluence in this chart. So right now, kick back, relax, because I think there's a potential scenario that we are in some kind of flag pattern in this particular chart, and I'm looking for the break of that pattern. So at the moment, we've got possibly some kind of flag in this particular chart where we're doing something like this. Come up into resistance, pull back to support, come into resistance, pull back to support. If we come up again into this flag once more, then you potentially got something exactly like what you got here. So it was a bottom in 2024. It was flagging back up, but once it lost this support, I said to you, the back test of resistance is where we go long with a life savings, and we'll expect a vertical because this will be a drop to the technical target of the flag, and it got exactly that. And this right now came down to the flag, and it's had the nice big boy bounce as anticipated. So go back to the videos late last year. This is where I was bearish on crypto, I was bearish on XRP, I was bearish on Bitcoin, I was bearish on Ethereum, looking for the pullback because of this particular chart's confluence, and obviously the retail top being triggered as well. A lot of people unsubscribe, says you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. But like I said to you, if we can identify a 5-wave move in the tether dominance to the upside and it still makes a low high, this is your buying opportunity. And it was part of the confluence way back there in the spring. So we've come down in 5. 1, big pullback, 2, breakdown, 3, 4, 5. And right now we're retracing this 5-wave move. So if we can flag back up like we did here, lose this support and flush down, that is your last leg. That's your vertical that I'm looking at as a potential scenario into Q4. So keep an eye on the tether dominance. It's a very, very important chart. And as you can see, not bullshit, not hopium, the macro trend is bearish. So the macro trend on Bitcoin is bullish, providing it holds and retains its BMS. At the moment, this has been holding the BMS as resistance for a very long time, but at some point it will reverse. So I'm looking at as a trend back up, breakdown, fall below the channel, back test the resistance, just like you did there, and then boom, flush to the downside into Q4, pretty much like you did there. So I'm looking for a rinse repeat on Crypto Street. So I'm keeping an eye on this particular chart, tether dominance. Like I said to you, it's a very important chart. Not a lot of people look at this chart. The invalidation is really simple, staring you in the face. If this chart trends back up, breaks out, holds support, and takes out 6.24%, kick back, relax, and I'll be looking to buy crypto on this trend line at 7.53%. Why? Because you got a God candle back test just there. Support, 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 never back tested it. And it could be looking at some kind of ABC back up into that. And that was your true top of an impulsive move for Bitcoin and XRP, Cardano, VeChain, so on and so forth at that particular time frame in December last year. And this is an ABC zigzag coming back. And this C wave could be quite nasty, but I think that will be a buy zone for us at around about 7.25% in this particular chart. It's a God candle back test above. And at some point, even when we do enter the bear market, whether or not we come up like this and we trend down and back test the rib the channel, I will be looking for that as my buy zone. Okay, if we go back in time, look at this. You've got your high, your high, your high, and in the RSI, look at that confluence. You've got your lower highs in the RSI on the 5-day time frame. So again, your top was in on the tether dominance. You began to roll over, and we all know what happened from late 2022, early 2023. It's been absolutely amazing to be a part of Bitcoin and XRP, but as it starts to come down, you can identify, the trend is running out of steam within this chart. Okay, this won't come down forever, and at some point it will retrace back up, and when it does, I'm looking at these retracement levels being the next buying opportunity in crypto. So stay tuned for that. Okay, at the moment there's no bias, but what I'm looking at is really simple. We've seen a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down. We're retracing the move. We're coming back up in some kind of channel. If we hold the resistance of the ribbon and obviously this lower high structure in this channel, look for the breakdown in this neckline, just like what we've got there, because this neckline broke down back to us. At this point, I flipped incredibly bullish, opened so many longs across the board, because like I said to you, the channel is where we're coming down to. That's the technical target. And look at that. If we drop like the likes of XRP in, look at the vertical that we got literally on that breakdown. So we broke down. As we broke down, XRP was pulling back, but I was showing you this every single day. I'm long here, guys. I'm buying as much as I can because I'm expecting a vertical, because the technical target is now this on this particular chart. So I'll be looking at exactly that in the future. If we can trend back up, break down below the channel, this will be a technical target, and we'll have some nice little long opportunities. But then if we can see the flush down to my exit Bitcoin strategy that I have for a very long time, 3.25%, I'm out the market. Okay, so looking at Bitcoin on the 5-day time frame, at the moment we're caught in this level of resistance, aren't we? And we could just drop another trend line on there, and this is what we do on the channel. We trade trend lines. for anyone that's paying attention. So we've got a lovely little trend line for Bitcoin right now. Keep an eye on that trend line, because if it starts to break and breaks that neckline, okay, you got another push to the upside. And like I've said to you, you're looking at that channel. You've got a channel rising on the Tether dominance. If it loses a channel, a support, backtest, drop. If this breaks resistance, backtest, pop. So the inverse is there. You know, you're caught in some kind of little channel. We've traded these channels many times before. You got this falling channel on Bitcoin coming down, breakout, close above, boom. You know, you coming down this channel, breakout, close above, backtest, boom. Just stay, coming down this channel, breakout, backtest, boom, gone. Even the bigger macro move, that, you know, trend lines, and I know a lot of people don't like to use trend lines, but I do. I trade them all the time. You're coming down into resistance, resistance, 3rd-point resistance, breakout, backtest, gone. And this is my primary outlook way back when. I said to you, when we come down and break this on a 3rd-point resistance, I think we've got a massive impulsive move. So it's the same thing. You've got resistance there, 2nd-point resistance there. If we do start to drop again, you know, you could be looking at another bump and run pattern here. And we've traded these before. So if, for example, right now we are looking at another little drop across the markets, and we're seeing, you know, the Tether dominance channel up like that, everyone's got incredibly bearish, and we're seeing this channel down like this, and everyone's getting incredibly bearish on crypto and bullish on Tether. If we start to break this trend line and go, and this loses support and drops, wow, we've got a nice little time in front of us into Q4. So keep an eye on that. And obviously the structure is really, really simple. This low here is your paramount structure, isn't it? You know, you break down below that, you're in a whopping crash and correction, and you're coming down the stairs right there. And I think you could come into this zone easily for Bitcoin right about 50k. But at the moment, that's potentially a bit of hopium. I need to see a little bit more loss of structure that we're currently holding for Bitcoin. Now I do envision potentially there is some kind of little falling wedge here for Bitcoin, just like this falling wedge here. You come down, resistance, drop, resistance, and basically 1, 2, 3rd-point resistance. What happened? You broke out. So looking at this, 1, 2. If this drops again into support, you've got your support there, your last level of support, you break resistance, you're gone. So possibly you just rinse repeat this correction here. So you come up, you're falling back like this. Oh no, it's going to 0, bounce off the 55 EMA like you did there, and the bottom of BMS, break out back to see you later. So that is currently my primary outlook, and what I'm looking for is more data to suggest that that's not in front of us. Now, why am I looking at another little drop for Bitcoin as well? So anyone that's been paying attention, we've been tracking the crystal ball to a T. So this is an indicator. You can get any charts. Just go to CoinsKid.com. Crystal ball, you can clearly see the peaks and troughs breaking out sideways, and right now we've got this pullback. As we approach into September, I was looking at a drawdown because the liquidity has got some kind of ABC in it. So again, we've basically approached September, come down, we're coming back up right now, which is this leg here, and then we see a flush. This flush, I think everyone will jump up and down and say bear market, but it may just be a simple repeat on Crypto Street of a falling wedge, okay, like this, comes down, 55 EMA, breakout back to see you later, to come up with liquidity into Q4, which is basically end of November. We could be looking at something very similar here for Bitcoin. And again, you start to see the breakdown of the Tether dominance, which is really important. So at the minute, I'm not a perma bear, perma bull, whatever. I think the market's in a 50-50 situation. Obviously, it could go up or down. People say that in the comments, but I'll just react to the structure. At the moment, I'm holding on for dear life. I don't see any necessarily reason to, exit all my positions, because I think there's a chance here. We get this correction out of the way. We're looking for potential 1, 2, waterfall 3, 4, 5 waves down, like we've got here. 5 waves of death on the 55, on the bottom of the BMS. Which is currently 17% away, so another 17% drop below the 100k level, and then break the channel, back test, see you later. But we're looking for the confluence and the inverse correlation of the Tether dominance, which is what we looked at last year for that big vertical into Q4 as well. So stay tuned for that, because at the moment, if you take a look, again, we're seeing quite a significant drop in the Tether, in the crystal ball. Come late November, we are seeing that drop, which is pretty much what we saw there, and we all know what happened there. That was the bigger macro correction that we went through for Bitcoin right there. Okay, if you want to get these indicators into your charts, just go to CoinsKid.com and follow the process. But at the moment, I still think, because of the crystal ball showing that drop, that we may see a little drop, which will be a bear trap across the board. Pay attention to the Tether dominance in that potential channel, and obviously the 6.24% percentage right there. If it takes that out, then obviously I'm completely wrong, and Bitcoin's run into a massive crash and correction. At that point, I think we just got to target that resistance zone around about 7.23% for the Tether dominance for a buy zone with a bearish divergence. Take care, everyone. Back to an update on Bitcoin. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay tuned. Bye bye.